Hi, my name is Susan Huff, and this is my first video about my bipolar disorder, things I've been through. Uh, to start, I guess I'm gonna just tell a little bit about how it happened, and how long it took me to get the correct diagnosis, which was quite a long while. When I was 17 actually, I got pregnant when I was in high school. It was the first guy that I was with, and I married him. Well, I had a miscarriage and I almost died. It was real bad infection. I was in intensive care. I had a real high fever. Very, very painful. I was like 4 months along and my water broke. But anyways, it triggered a depression. I need to quit messing with my hair. That's a bad habit. It triggered this horrible depression. Like yeah. And my sister-in-law was pregnant at the time, so it really didn't help. So then, anyways, I was about 18, 19 when the manic episodes started happening, and I did not know what they were. I just know I was married to this guy for 2 years. I met another guy at work, and I just came in and said, I don't want to be married to you anymore. Left. Him crying and following me around, and oh God, it was a mess. And I was basically living out of my car. I couldn't stay put in one place. Me and my mom she lived out in the country, and back then, we didn't have cell phones because I'm old. It was back in the 80s. What about 83, something like that? Anyway, to make a long story short, I was at her house and I couldn't call anybody or anything because they wouldn't let me call long distance on her phone. He was real. So I just took off at like midnight. I couldn't stay there all night. It was like this energy that took over that was not me. Like it never was me before. I knew there was something desperately different. I didn't know anything about bipolar disorder, though. That was just crazy people. But I did. I had all my clothes in my car, go to my friends, go to my boyfriends. Gosh, I mean, I was to place to place. And it's a very embarrassing story, but I must tell, I had no regards for, like, using birth control, so I kept getting pregnant and having miscarriages, and, like, I couldn't tell you how many miscarriages I had. It was bad. My friend actually said, here, I'm nervous, I'm sorry, like, what's wrong with you, I wondered that, too. I would, meet guys in bars and just hook up when I was manic. I didn't know I was manic. I drank a lot. A lot of people that are bipolar, I mean, I've read 70%, don't take me, I'm not a doctor, but, people do drink. They abuse alcohol, and I abused, they were called White Crosses back then, and you could just buy them. They were like speed. I just drank and took that and got real skinny and stayed up all night and worked all day and took care of I did have a child at 23. His dad didn't want to have anything to do with him, so it was just me. It was hard, but I went through, oh God, I'd be laying in the bed just bawling for days, and then I'd get up and I'd just be, you couldn't stop me. So that's how it started. And I did have a psychotic episode when I smoked pot. When I smoked marijuana every time. But one time it was real bad. I could have went to the hospital if my boyfriend hadn't took care of me. I just kind of lost it. I didn't even know where I was at. It was crazy. But anyway, there were signs. No one knew. I mean, well, my family didn't know. I took my 3-month-old baby and moved 10 hours away to I didn't even tell them I was going. So, didn't have a job, car, money. Spontaneous actions where you just don't think, you just do. You don't think of the consequences until it comes crashing down on you, and then you feel, when you crash, it's the most horrible feeling. You want to die. You really do. I have attempted suicide several times. One time the last time, the second to the last time, I was on a ventilator, and my throat was closing up, and I had to watch my she was 21 at the time, I think, just falling, and I couldn't talk, it was awful. I felt like I got to change somehow, But anyway, that's the beginning of my story. I mean, it goes way back to my dad was bipolar, and, well, he was bipolar with psychotic. I mean, he had schizophrenic features. I mean, I think it was schizoaffective, something like that. But he was a bad alcoholic for years. Very violent. My mom, she left him when I was 6. He would threaten to kill everybody when he was drunk. Or I don't know if that's all. But he'd come in and we'd have to hide from him. And I remember being so scared and just coming into the world into violence. He would hit my mom. I remember punching her and blood being all over her, and several times. As far as I can remember, he never hit me. And when he wasn't drinking, he was nice. I really liked him. He was my dad. It was so confusing as a child. I mean, I kind of looked up to him. He was big and strong and nice looking, and he'd always go crazy and fight the cops when they would call, and the 10 cars, well, not 10, probably 6 cars would show up, though. He was a big old guy. My brother was too. But, yes, he they finally got him off of the alcohol so that they could diagnose him and put him on his medication. And he was a different person. He'd call me, wanted me to come see him. And at that time, he lived about 3 hours away, and I had kids and a daycare. And I just didn't I didn't get there very often. And when he was dying, I felt so bad. I mean, even though he wasn't a real good dad, I knew the reasons, and I knew he was trying, to be different. But he had COPD and heart failure and stuff, and he died when he was 61. And my brother overdosed at 44. He had borderline. They had diagnosed him with borderline personality disorder. He was an alcoholic, a drug addict, and they said he was, narcissistic personality disorder. He had personality disorders. It wasn't bipolar, but we both had a lot of problems. Anyways, it is very much. I have seen in families, it runs kind of like that. If you have environmental problems too, like we did have violence and we had abuse. God, I mean, I really don't. I know there's going to be people probably watching these that maybe know me, but I did have sexual abuse. And, I'm going to be quite honest. My stepdad, and I don't, my mom may not want to watch these, but she knows. And I didn't tell her until I was 15. Gosh, I was like 6, till I was 15. And I was suicidal at 15. I tried to kill myself. I tried to take too many pills. When I told her, he admitted it, and he left. But, I'm sorry. That's my doggy down there. See, Minnie. Can you see her?